Welcome, welcome on this wonderful day. As always, I invite you to continue practicing. And today I bring you a little bit deeper. A little more into a certain strategy. We practice, and practicing starts with observing your breath and making your breath as soft and slow as a little kid. Can you do that? Can you make your breath soft? Can you breathe softly? And can you follow the breath without starting to breathe, without controlling it? We have this story that my own teacher told me like already a tons of times. And that is that there is a Zen master, and maybe you do know, Zen masters serve tea. So when you want to do a nice experience with your clients or with your kids, just play the Zen master a little bit. And then you have this pot of tea, filled of course with tea. And then someone came by and wanted to learn Zen. So he came to the Zen master and he said, yes, I would love to learn Zen. So the Zen master said, come. So this is what you can do with your kids or with your partner, with your clients. Come and sit by, take place, come and sit. Should I pour you a cup of tea? And the mister who came said, yes, I would love to have a cup of tea. So the cup of tea is on the table. And the Zen master takes the tea and starts filling the cup of tea. And then the cup of tea is full, but he keeps going. And he keeps going. So the tea is floating over out of the cup. While the mister says, oh, stop. It's too much. You have to stop. It's a waste. It's not coming in anymore. Nothing is coming in anymore. But the Zen master keeps going. He's like, no, you have to stop. It's enough. And then the Zen master says, yes. When I keep pouring tea into your cup while it's already full, like how you said, nothing is coming in anymore. So when you don't empty your cup, when you don't practice during your day, and you keep filling your cup, nothing is coming in anymore. So when you have the idea that you are like always full, always tired, always exhausted, no creativity, no possible way to speak out loud your truth, it might be because your cup is too full. And you didn't stop on time with pouring the tea into your cup. Practicing is to empty your cup. And emptying sounds maybe a little bit boring because this nice flavor of tea, you don't have it. But the emptiness is the only place where you can transform, where you can make a change. Only in this empty place. And practicing, when you're really practicing, so that doesn't mean that you put on my audio or reading Thich Nhat Hanh or someone else, the Bible. And you just keep thinking meanwhile, like, what should I eat tonight? What should I do tomorrow? Oh, what kind of tea should I drink? No. Practicing means focusing on your breath with attention. Doing one thing at the time. And when you do remember every moment that you feel full, overwhelmed, or it's a little bit too much, or your energy is like high, stop. Think about the story of the cup of tea and choose not to be that overloaded cup of tea. What can help you to not be this overloaded cup of tea? I have a real life example from this morning. I have a very strict schedule daily. A lot of people are like, why? And are having like a lot of comments on it. So the schedule is by time, so by hour. And it's every day. It might have a little bit of differences, but on the day itself, like Tuesday is always Tuesday, Wednesday is always Wednesday, Thursday is always Thursday. No changes. And I go by the timings. So that means because I have this schedule, when there comes something on top of it, in that moment that there is already something, there cannot be a change. So then I say, no, this is not for me in between, let's say, until 2 or 3 o'clock. After 3, it's a little bit more open because you always have things that can come up and need to be happen on the same day. So it's not like I have a full schedule. You have to listen very carefully. I have a very clear and structured schedule. So that means I told all of you that we were doing the trading course. And last weeks there are no trades. I have to be honest, I don't get it yet. I do understand the rules and the things, and I understand the things that you have to watch. But because there was no trade yet, you cannot really see it because there is no, the example that is given is not there yet. So I do understand the principles. But today there was a message that we could look into like 9 o'clock. And then I said, this is not for me right now. Because I have my quite structured schedule. And then Ray says, yeah, it might be that you are missing the chance. And then I said, yeah, then I missed the chance. Because what happens when I try to fit it in on the things that are already structured and are already planned from morning until 3, my cup is overflowing. And for me, it's more important to be empty than to do a trade. That doesn't mean that on other days I don't have space, because of course I also have space, because otherwise I don't start something like this. But I have chosen days that it's not possible. And that is one of those days is my Tuesday. Nice trade, no nice trade. That's how it is. And then, of course, it will be nice when the person next to me does have space on those days so that we can swap, for example. But on those moments, I choose to stay with my schedule. Because otherwise, I am the overfloating cup. I'm going to tell you a story here, which doesn't make any sense because I'm here like, ooh, a lot of movement. That is one. Then we have another one. A schedule is not always comfortable. Like on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Sunday, I go, for example, to the gym for my yoga class. I go always to the gym for my yoga class. Also, when it's pouring rain and storming, I walk and I go. I don't have and I don't come up with any excuse not to do it. And that might seem uncomfortable for someone around me, but that is a choice because that keeps you stable. To not move literally like with the wind or with the rain or with something that is coming up. So learn what is a schedule that is full, that is already overfloated. That means that there is also no space in the day itself, like 2 or 3 hours, for new things to learn. I do have plenty of space to go painting with the kids or to learn something new. That means your cup is already too full, already overfloating. That has to change first. Otherwise, never ever something is going to change. You need to have at least 1, 2, 3 hours to breathe freely, to go for a coffee, to play around, to do something. The rest is also joyful, but to be free a little bit. But the rest is good that you have a clear structure. Because a lot of people think, yeah, but then I cannot flow. But what I already say, the problem is that they think. But flowing is not because of thinking. Flowing is because of a certain structure on a certain strategy. Because otherwise, it's just your mind who can tell you whatever. And you will follow it. Because there's nobody who is going to say, hey, maybe here your mind is talking. Did you know? So who's going to check that with you? So the first lesson to go deeper is to practice, to notice if your cup is overflowing. Then the first thing to do is to make more space. And when you don't do that, I understand that your life is not going anywhere. But I cannot do this for you. That is up to you. It's not up to me. When you want to transform, you need time. Because when you want to transform, there are things that you need to take the time for, to reflect on, to sit with, to talk out, to do something with, and not 2 weeks after. Because that means that you are passing your life 2 weeks. For who? Today, preferable. At least tomorrow is the latest to reflect. And when you don't have enough time yet, go and make time. Not for me, but for yourself, because otherwise you will run behind your tail forever. Because what happens is what I was talking about last week with Clemence, I think it was on Friday. It's like we are this dog running behind the tail. And we keep running behind our tail. It's like the cup keeps being full. But you are the only one who can change something in your own life by taking responsibility. And yes, it's way easier. I was talking about it earlier with Denise and with Erica. It's way easier to not make any decisions because you can just put it on someone else. When someone else is going to decide for you, way more easier. I was actually saying it to Joyce yesterday as well. When you put it to your colleague, when starts your life? And when you are able to say, what is it actually that you think? And you are allowing that from yourself, like constantly, then nothing will change because someone else stays deciding for you because that is your comfortable. And like how Erica said, yeah, it's actually quite easy because then I don't have to take the responsibility. And you can always lean on someone. But leaning on someone means that you actually never ever have your own space. You never ever can make your own choices. It's not that when someone says to me, then you're missing out this chance, that it's not doing something to me. Depends how much I'm still in it or I'm going through a process, what I think. Or when someone says, you're just crazy that you go into the storm and you still go to yoga. It's not that I'm maybe confused, or it's not that nothing happens until I am good myself, like, yeah, actually I make these choices because of a reason. And that reason is good for me. So you can think whatever you want, it's okay. But this is good for me. And only then you can start to practice to be empty. But when you give yourself the possibility, when you get a reflection, to not make space on the same day or the day after, nothing is going to change. Nothing. Because you give people the possibility to live your life. And the only one who can live your life is you. And otherwise, it makes sense that nothing in your life is changing or is working out. So the practice is first that you start to realize that your cup is too full. There's no judgment on it. There's a change today or tomorrow, not next week. You make the change, you have more time, you have more space, you have more practice. Then you start to see. You start to see all those things where you don't take any responsibilities. Same process again. And this is just an ongoing thing forever, which can be fun when you practice. When you don't practice, it becomes much, it becomes a lot. It doesn't become fun at all. It means that your cup was already too full for too long. Because on the moment that it feels heavy, or that it feels uncomfortable, or that you are going through a process, it means the way before you will feel lighter. Because you are going through the darkness first. Because your little person is going to be annoyed and doesn't want to go there. Because right now it's keeping you safe. But don't believe your little person, because practicing means observing the breath. And when you are observing the breath from the right here and from the right now, you can start looking from a distance. And looking from the distance means that you are not in it. So you can, as nice as trading, I'm totally great in it, as you hear. You will hear me right now. The trade goes, you had a good price to buy, and then you decided not to do it. And then the day after it's high again. And then you're like, no, that is going in it. You can reflect, what makes it actually that I was not going in it? I'm stubborn. I was stupid. I didn't make time. Whatever. But the next day is the next day. So you have to reflect it empty. Because otherwise, next time it happens again. And then you can say, yeah. You keep saying that. And that is what happens when you don't reflect on the same day or the day after. You just keep running behind your own tail. Because you keep doing the same thing over and over. And that is where your practice kicks in, taking responsibility, being in the right here and the right now. By observing your breath, looking at this little person like, hey, what is she up for today? What kind of secrets is she coming up for? And when it all starts to become heavy, not so light anymore, it means that you're not practicing. It means that you're led by your emotions and by your thoughts. When you start to notice that you start to be led, that you start to be heavy, then you start to observe the breath. And you start to take a distance. And you start to look, what makes it actually that right now that I feel so happy? Okay, I have this belief, I have that belief, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't. And you have to go until you are empty again. Because otherwise you start to move with the emotions, with the reactions, and you start to repeat the pattern. So the only thing that you can do is stop, turn inside, watch, observe, move again. Ooh, not empty yet. And you do the same process. Stop, watch, observe, and move again. And that doesn't mean that you cannot be touched in your life anymore, because that is the practice. Because everywhere where we are rejected from our own passions and talents, we will be touched when someone is pushing on it. And that is not a reason to explode, that is a reason to discover, here I was still rejecting myself. Let's see. Actually, it's very cool that I'm doing it like this. But this person just doesn't understand it, because this person, for example, thinks that we always need to be comfortable. And that might be the reason that that life of the person is never going anywhere. So the overflowing cup. Recognize the cup. Stop and turn inwards.